Faced with the dilemma of being financially responsible while jobless and visa-less in Germany, does Makasy buy a new jacket or does he save his money? Well, I mean, the title and thumbnail already gave it away, plus the last video, and a couple of reasons, heavyweight leather, Tatlin coat, it's Rick, I'm bored. As you can see by the length of this video, we're going to be thorough in this review. We're going to talk about everything from the name, shoulder, leather, runway, and everything else in between those talking points. The full name of this jacket is the Rick Owens Spring Summer 24 LIDO EDFU Tatlin Flight in black oily calf leather. Though it's named the EDFU jacket, it didn't come out officially until Luxor. On the runway, you get the wool version, the matte leather version, and the fur version. This particular oily leather did not make it on the runway because Rick and the team knew it would take away the attention away from their beloved Tatlin coat. In the LIDO collection, you get this Tatlin jacket, but Rick did it with the Cobra sleeve, which are these long, thin wool sleeve. I see the appeal, might get it to see how it is to own that. Haven't seen the jacket since on the runway, but various versions continue to release like this one from LIDO. If you're unfamiliar with Rick, he looked towards his past collections to make his current collection and future collection. A little tweak here, a change here, something new here, take away this, but always familiar. And of course, I will make a comparison with the Tatlin coat, so we won't talk about that in this video. I believe I got the best version. Some people might prefer the cow fur, but once you own one cow fur product, you don't really yearn for a second or a third in my case. I prefer the regular or the feel of the regular leather over the fur. I knew for sure I didn't want wool, and for sure I didn't want the matte leather because that's gonna feel like suede and looks like suede. If you search up Rick Owens flight jackets, you will see a lot of jackets. Rick loved the word flight, just like how Raph loved the word redux and Michael Kors loving the word mediocre. I'm starting a new category with this video. Some of my clothes are sometimes very hard to get on and off. For example, this banana sweater. It's a complicated piece and takes quite some time to get on. For this EDFU jacket, relatively easy because of how boxy it is and the leather. One flaw though, sometimes the leather here gets stuck. Another flaw is the rip knit cuffs. Sometimes they do get stuck when you put your sleeve in there. Other than those two minor inconveniences, super easy to put on. Oh, while we're here, there are 3 ways in which you can wear this jacket. A regular, over the shoulder, on the waist. One of the flaws of this jacket, the bomber collared. I would have loved spread collared, but Rick has this affinity for bomber collared. I do get that the bomber collared look more carefree, but the jacket, it's a quite serious piece. It's different, it's architectural. The collar is made from virgin wool, which is new wool. Some of Rick's product uses recycled wool. I'm not a fan because I want my things to be new. Both are super soft, not itchy at all, and it's quite thick. It has protected my neck well for its size. There is a button here to help clip in the jacket, in which I never use, but if you ever feel like getting the zipped up look without zipping it up, clip it in and put your arm ends together. We're not going to talk about the neck area in general, not simply the wool part anymore. The neck part, it is super stiff. It has caused me so much troubles. For example, when I sit down, the neck part is super stiff, and when I need to move my head left, right, front, back, I hit the heavy leather and it's not the best of feeling. I love that it's a bit uncomfortable in a weird way because the jacket is making its presence known. Most of our clothes, they're designed to make the wearer comfortable and like forget that they have clothes on, like leggings. But to have a jacket to make you adjust to them, it's quite new. It's quite avant-garde if we're gonna be douchey about it. Of course, it's not practical, but I would not wish for it to be removed. When you lift your arms up, the whole neck area also poke the neck, and it can hurt. What I've learned is I unzip the jacket a bit so I can fold the neck part out and not have my neck and head hit the extremely heavy leather when I sit down just scrolling on my phone, as you can see by the B-roll. Zipper, extremely large Ricagni zipper running down the middle. I love how shiny it is. I love how thick. I love the sound it makes. I love everything about Ricagni zipper. Please sponsor me. Okay, all of that is great. Now, the negative. Since the leather is so thick, the jacket is so heavy, it is very, very hard to zip this jacket up. Gotta put a lot more effort than most of my other jackets. You also get the extremely thick leather strip to hide the zipper. Normally, I'm a fan of exposed zipper, but this works well. I like how singular the jacket looks. If this were to be a different color, maybe its exposed zipper would be nice. It's also because I see a lot of exposed zipper lately, so it's a bit new to have it hidden. You also get this thick strip of leather under the zipper so you don't zip your skin in. Rick loves this pattern, by the way. You can see it practically every season. I like that it's only on the strip of leather, and on the interior lining it's just smooth leather, a bit of contrast. This strip of leather is super practical and helpful, but it also causes some problem. The leather, it's so thick. hard to zip. Sometimes the strip of leather go above the zipper, so you gotta push it back down every single time, and it is quite heavy. Obviously, this isn't a major deal, but when you're in a hurry to leave the house or it suddenly get really cold and you need this jacket to close ASAP, it can really be a big inconvenience. The stitching around the zipper is impeccable. It has to, otherwise this jacket will fall apart much faster. I don't know if they needed to use a bigger sewing machine because it's heavy leather, but I am very impressed by the stitching. We gotta remember, Rick owns his own factory, and as a brand, they're independent. They don't have the backing LVMH or Kering or Richmond. Now, the main talking point of the jacket, modulator jumbo shoulder with a soft shoulder pad. When you wear a blazer with shoulder pads, you can feel it on the jacket. You can even see it. On this one, you cannot. A couple theories, the leather is so thick, I can't feel it. The pads in between the leather and they're super thin. This doesn't mean that it's just a regular jacket and the team at Rick simply added padding to make it look more triangular. The pattern of this jacket is completely new and different from standard jacket. If you look here, Tatlin shoulder with leather, Tatlin shoulder with wool. You can see how the leather reinforces the sharpness of the shoulder. This makes me hate my Tatlin coat even more, but we'll talk more of that in the comparison video. The line connected to the pocket also accentuate the sharpness of the shoulder, draw the attention more to the shoulder, and exaggerate it even more. I love these lines so much. Though it's tonal, you can still see the line, which is great. I would not have liked it if you can hardly see the lines. This jacket is very sculptural, very architectural. One improvement I would make though, or suggest to the team at Rick, pentagram lines. That will take this jacket to the next level. The extra room in the shoulder also make the wearing experience more comfortable. I love that when I look at my peripheral, I can see the shoulder. One flaw though, hard to lean against the wall or door or anything. One, because it's so wide. Two, I'm scared to break the shape. It's one of the reasons why I got this instead of a million other jackets for the same price point, you know. The shoulder also point out the giganticness of my head, which is a nice touch. Now, if we take the positive spin to that, it centers my head. So when I am in a bureau where there are a lot of lines, it looks really good. The shoulder looks a lot more vicious from the back. I can't seem to find a word to describe it because it's not like it's bigger from the back, but they simply look bigger. From the side, you can see how angular the shoulders are, but not that vicious. It's been a month now. The integrity of the shoulder has not waned, which is good. I'm sure the team at Rick did thorough tests of the pattern, the strength, and everything else to make sure the shoulder stay as sharp as possible and for as long as possible. They are charging an exorbitant amount of money, so they have to make it, you know, the quality gotta be there. Now, that is 3 pages worth of writing on the shoulder already. I can definitely talk more for like 5 more pages, but let's just end it with this. If you take it away, it's a regular jacket. When you add it, it's subtle to an extent, but it's also loud to an extent. Maybe it's because I'm insulated to the wall of Rick, but I hope that made you come. 4 pockets in total, 2 fog pockets on the breast with vertical opening and invisible snaps, 2 internal zipper pockets with a zipper. This is not my first jacket with the fog pockets. I've learned to really appreciate and love them. They're super useful. It's spacious, close to my body so I feel more secure, or closer to my head, I mean. I use it quite often to store my phone, wallets, and AirPods. Actually, I can't say quite often, here and there I should say, because I mainly use the interior pockets. The reason is because of the snap button closures. It doesn't give my mind the security it needs to feel safe. I would have preferred zippers and possibly expose a zipper like this pocket here on the Bauhaus jumpsuit. It will add a bit of personality to the jacket. I am not joking. When I was doing the ASMR for the snap button closure, the button broke. Luckily, Rick does give us extra button for when something breaks, but I genuinely didn't try to break it. I was not testing it for the strength. I was testing it for the sound. You can see my confusion as I realized it broke, and then I decided to take the camera off the tripod to give you a closer look. This is the first time a Rick button has broke on me. I will take it to the tailor and have it fixed. I don't think it would cost that much because I am providing them with a broken button, so they simply have to solder it in or whatever they need to do. Anyway, here's how it's supposed to look like, which is the broken one. The buttons are now clipped together forever. I think this happened because of the thickness of leather. The button wasn't properly put in or just not with enough force. Whatever reason it may be, I'm gonna pass the blame on to Rick here because I really didn't try to break it, and trust me, I do take responsibility when I break something, but this is not one of those times. Another con, quite hard to reach the fog pockets because of how stiff the jacket is overall, and how the sleeve and main body are constructed and how they interact with one another. Hopefully the B-roll is helping showing you my point here. What I love though, 2 instead of 1. Sometimes the designer only put 1 breast pocket, which make the right side a bit empty. If this jacket would only have 1, it would not look as charming. If it's not obvious, love that Rick incorporated the line to connect it to the opening of the pockets. The line actually run all the way down to the bottom of the jacket, or well, the waistband. Honestly, I just love the line so much. We should give it a name. Let's call it the Styx line, after the river Styx. It feels right, fitting with all the other names Rick has given to his creations. And now, my favorite pockets. The internal pockets with the zipper. They sit on the middle and move downward. The opening is substantial, easy to push my arm through. Rick and the team definitely thought about how big the arm would be with the wide sleeve. Just a lot of well thought out design. By the way, same as the exterior pocket, substantial opening. Again, still a bit hard to reach because how stiff the pockets and how the sleeve, blah 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 blah, but I persevere. I know my life is hard. I pushed through this hardship and put my expensive phone and expensive ass AirPod in there. I cannot overstate how useful the interior pocket has been, and the zipper makes me want to use it even more. And now, the longest category for some reason, the sleeves. We're going to talk about the best part of the sleeve. Concealed zipper pocket on each forearm. Dude, I love this feature so much. Most retailers did not specify or show it in the photo or description, but when I saw a functional zip on the sleeve, that was the final push to buy this jacket. I am not kidding. I wish I was, but I am easily influenced by small design details when it comes to big purchases. Because most high-end brands will use the best of material, have the best quality control. Okay, so obviously it's great aesthetically. Also, it's a bit hidden. I would not have opposed to the idea of exposing the zipper. Again, more character, more color. On the left sleeve, I hide some money in there for emergency sake. At the moment, I don't have a German credit card, so sometimes I get a bit paranoid that my phone is gonna die or they don't accept my card or Apple Pay. I mainly use the sleeve to store my phone when I forget my AirPod and I have to walk by it. Again, substantial opening, high quality Makasy zipper, super spacious. Now let's talk practicality. When I put my phone in there, I sense it's present immensely. The pocket space, so the phone travels in the pocket. It's also a new feeling to have something heavy around that area of your arm. You feel it whenever you move. I also put my phone in this pocket when I'm riding my bike. I'm still new to Munich, so I'm always using the Google Map app. It's high pressure when you need to know where you're turning when you're sharing the street with cars, which bikes have the same rights as cars in smaller street in Munich. I still hold the American mindset of hating when I see bikes trying to share the street, so I'm constantly worried about getting beeped at, and like if there's a car behind me, I would just ride onto the sidewalk, which is illegal in Germany. It's a new experience, but other Americans will back me up here. Alright, so that was a long time on the extremely cool zip pockets on the sleeve. Let's move on and start with the tip of the penis, the virgin wool rib knit cuffs. Not as long as the ones on my down jacket, they're relatively tight, which is good. This one hugs my arm a bit better, a bit tighter, but not tight where you're uncomfortable. I appreciate the practical side, which is to keep the air out of the armholes. However, I think a full leather sleeve would have looked so much better. Sometimes I fold the wool in so you get the artificial full leather sleeve look. Sometimes I feel as though the wool, they lower the luxury look of the jacket a bit or make the jacket looks a bit more normal. If Rick insists on putting cuffs at the end, what if he used some thin leather? All leather would have been so much better. And we'll come back to this later when we're talking about how the jacket can stand on its own. Now, the elbow. Since the leather is so thick, stiff, and rigid, stacking will develop and has developed since day one. I cannot wait to see how this jacket looks when I make my 365 days video. We'll talk leather later, trust me, that one is also a long segment. Okay, elbow, the sleeve, stacking in general. I love how it looks when the stacking appeals. When it's smooth, I also like it. When you want to if you keep your arm, it will look smooth. Now let's talk negative first. Since the leather is so rigid and tough, it hurts the elbow a bit because you're putting so much stress in this area when you move your arm back and forth, and the leather does not give ways to your movement. Not uncomfortable to the point where you don't want to wear the jacket, but enough for you to sense its presence. I wore it the other day for 10 hours, and on hour 8, I started to feel more annoyed when the leather started to stack near the elbow and how it keeps hitting my arm, because when you try to bend something thick, there's a lot of friction there. And now let's talk length. It is perfect. Covered 99% of my arms when we're including the wool cuff. If we look at it when I fold the cuffs in, still cover a lot of my arm. Still a good look, just not the greatest. And now with the width, it is incredibly wide. This is a bomber jacket, and most bomber jackets have extra wide sleeve for some reason. Let me know in the comment if you know. I'm too lazy to look it up. What this means, super easy to put a knitwear or hoodie or jackets underneath. And when it gets super cold out, I am wearing this in October, November, and December. So sometimes it gets really cold, and there are just days where you're just fixated on wanting to wear something. It's like craving McDonald's at 2 a.m. You have to get it. If you don't get it, it's just gonna lingers on in your mind for the rest of the day, and then tomorrow you have to get it, and then you realize, oh, I should have gotten it yesterday. The scratches itch. Anyway, I hope you know what I mean. I wear this sometimes with like a hoodie or a knitwear underneath. It's a good look. Mainly I prefer with just a black tee, but sometimes, you do what you gotta do. And now let's talk about the construction a bit and the relationship between the sleeve and the main body. The shoulder, they protrude out. Stiff and thick leather, so it's a bit hard to move your arms around. As you can see by the bezel, they travel together. One movement here will move another part of the jacket. When I need to reach something high, it's a bit of a struggle. When I need to do anything that exerts more energy and movement than normal, it will be a bit difficult. Not uncomfortable, but different. With regard to everyday activity, a bit hard to type on my phone because of how long the sleeve is and how soft and movable the cuffs are. And then you get a rigid and really hard leather sleeve. A lot of moving parts that makes doing simple tasks harder. My wife says this is a good runaway jacket, but not a good everyday jacket, which I agree. But in order to test this jacket, I've been treating it like my everyday jacket. Eating is also not that easy because it takes a lot of effort to move your arm around in these heavy sleeves. I also try not to eat in this jacket because I don't want them to get dirty. Easier to simply take it off. I love sauces, so chances of spillage is much higher when it comes to me eating. Of course, the thickness of the sleeve doesn't help. The relationship with the sleeve to the main body doesn't help either. I believe I cover everything with regard to sleeve, but if I miss anything, ask me in the comment and I will gladly write you a 5-page essay. Lastly, let's look at the sleeve from the front. Looks really well made, right? The sleeve sit perfectly, no weird creases. And then you flip to the back and you can see the compromises the team at Rick made. This is still a bomber jacket. Most bomber jackets have wide sleeve, but since the leather is so thick and heavy, Rick and the team needed to fold the sleeve in a bit to make sure the front looks good and for the comfort of the wearer. For the most part, I am okay with the poor looking back of arms because I don't see it. By the way, this is only when it's not worn and laid out flat. When you wear it, the sleeve are three-dimensional again and look more wholesome and wholeful. Virgin wool waistband. I see the appeal, but I am not a fan at all. I appreciate the practical side, like making the bottom half of the jacket more malleable when putting it on for easier movement. The jacket, however, is not a practical jacket. It's a fashion jacket. Full body of leather would have looked better in my opinion. If this were all leather, it would be able to stand on its own more. If the sleeve were also all leather, it would also make it easier to stand on its own. I mean, it can right now, but it doesn't look as good as it can be. I see this as a missed opportunity. Okay, let's talk about more flaws with this. When you raise your arms up, the jacket gets stuck because of the waistband. If it were fully leather, it would slide up and down much easier, less friction. Another pro though, almost forgot, the waistband is much softer than the virgin wool cuffs, not as stiff, not as rigid. This actually helps a lot with movement. When you're constantly sitting down, standing up, sitting down, whatever movement you do, it actually helps a lot. So the practical side, I get it, but this is a fashion statement piece. I would have loved full leather. We'll talk about the back yoke in a minute. Let's talk about how ill-designed this jacket looks from the back. There seemed to be extra fabric or excess fabric. This is the sacrifice the team at Rick had to make sure the wearer is comfortable while wearing it. Rick could have easily cut the pattern in which there's no extra fabric built in and look incredibly smooth, but then if you wear it, it won't be comfortable. The extra leather or the pockets of air gives room to breathe, give room to movement, and keep the shoulder region rigid and structured. The stiffness of this jacket would have made the jacket too hard to wear. While I appreciate this sentiment for the jacket to be wearable, I would not mind conforming my body to the jacket and not being able to wear it for as long as I can, because it is a fashion jacket. I do wear this daily sometimes, but when I'm done through the testing phase, when this jacket has to compete with my other jackets, it's not going to win most of the time. And now let's talk about the signature thin adjustable cotton webbing disco strap that clips across the back yoke. At first, I thought it would have been better to have this back yoke, forgetting that you can wear it around your waist. Dude, after realizing that, I love this again. When I was shooting, it's a bit hard to maneuver in tight spaces because the shoulder is so cumbersome, and it's relatively hard to move this jacket. So in between shots and location, I take the jacket off, wear it on the waist so I can move more freely, or I wear it on my shoulder. One flaw though, it's just cotton and plastic. Would have loved leather and brass or some heavy metals. I tried to do a POV, but my camera isn't that wide. It's easier to do POV when we're reviewing shoes or pants, so please appreciate the footage you're seeing because it took me a long time to get. Despite how bad it's looking, I had to go through far worse footage, so you're welcome that you don't have to see those footage. And now just some random thought that doesn't quite deserve its own category. I can do the robot in this jacket. The body is so stiff and moves singularly, so it's pretty cool quirk. Feel like I'm on a set of Step Up. I used to love those movies. The color is black or 09 as Rick designated. I don't believe Rick has released this in any other colors than black, even if he does one day. Black is the best color for this jacket. The shape is already crazy. Need a version. Maybe a yellow python will look good, but this black is so gorgeous. Way better than the black on my CCP jacket. Also, I love this footage of leather under a flashlight. You can really see the cracks and all of the imperfection, and also see the true color. For example, I did not know that this part is a bit shinier until I put it under the flashlight. I love leather goods. It's hard for me to buy cotton product now once I'm rich enough. Everything I wear will be made of leather. I will put custom orders in at Guidi, CCP, Rick and Bodie just for all leather products. We're going to state some facts about the material and then we're going to break it down further. The exterior is 100% heavyweight calf leather. The tannery that Rick partnered with for this leather is LWG certified with gold rating. All of the rib knit, collared, waistband and blah blah blah, they're all 100% new wool. This jacket went through a process called vegetable tanning, meaning only vegetable and natural tannins were used in the process of tanning and preserving this leather. Throughout this video, you heard me use words such as rigid, structured, stiff, and all of the other synonyms to those words. I cannot overstate how those words are so true to this jacket. I'll make a comparison of this heavyweight leather to some of my other leather goods. I never fully adjusted to the structure of the jacket when sitting. When you zip it up all the way and sitting down, it continued to poke at my neck and face. I thought I would get used to it, but I never did. While I appreciate the thickness of this calf leather and the smell that we will talk about in a bit, I wish there would have been horse. Horse is just a superior leather and it's quite costly, and Rick doesn't use a lot of horse. The leather is a fluff magnet. The color, the oily look and feel. Whenever Bonnie comes sit on me or near me, it collects all of her fur. The color black doesn't help in this department either. The fluffs aren't too hard to get rid of on the leather, but the virgin wool part, pain in the ass to get rid of. I've talked a lot about how heavy this jacket is, so here's the official weight. It is 2.4 kilogram or 5.2 pounds. Quite heavy, probably my heaviest jacket. If this were to be horse leather though, it would have been 7 or 8 with the same cuts of leather and thickness. I appreciate the weight of this jacket every time I put it on. When you decide to get this version and not the wool or the matte leather, you're gonna appreciate this thickness and this weight so much more. I did a simple water test. Maybe later on I will do a more thorough where I let my wife throw a bucket of water at me or something. So the water, they stay on there. Nothing is seeping through as expected. You see a bit of wet spot as water travels through. Expose the leather a bit more as the water touches it. Once you wipe it, you sense a bit of coldness for roughly 30 to 45 seconds, and then it's as if water never touched it. I didn't do a water test on the wool because I still care about this jacket. I'll talk more about that in the 365 days video, because by then I would have walked through rain more and snow and blah blah blah. It's still November, October, so I only got like a month or 2 months testing it, and it hasn't snowed that much in Munich. While I was doing the ASMR, I tried to get some noises going with the leather and my fingernails, and then this started to happen. Rick was not kidding when he said the skin is naked and not finished using any pigment to cover the skin. There is a strong leather smell to it. It doesn't smell like horse. I can't quite describe it other than to compare it when you're sitting in a luxurious car. I think the thickness has a lot to do with the smell. The thickest part of the cow is the backbone area towards the belly. Anyway, I really enjoy the smell. So yes, it has a great smell, but it doesn't permeate the room like the horse leather does. I see this as a con. My wife sees this as a pro. When I wear my horse leather product out in the wild where there are a lot more scents from people around me, I know that the smell of horse will attract someone near me to try to sniff it out like, hey man, the weird smell, that's super strong, where is it? Every time you move, they hear the leather. When you move your arms, when the sleeve come in contact with the main body, when you roll the jacket up, when you throw it on, when you throw it on the ground, the sound that this jacket makes is incredible. I cannot overstate how much I love the thickness of this jacket. Here's some more sound that this jacket makes. Rick described this leather as oily, and they finished the jacket using natural waxes which make for a more supple and oily hand feel. I love it. It feels luxurious to the touch. It feels like I'm getting my money worth. I find myself running my hand through the jacket here and there because it's quite different. I'm used to calf, but I'm not used to this thickness of calf. This is a bit hard to describe, so let me put it this way. When you're cooking with oil, your hand gets a bit oily from the splashes and whatnot. This feels a bit similar to that when you touch this jacket, but without the stain. Because the skin is naked, not finished using any pigment covering the skin, natural marking and shading are visible, which make each skin and product unique. We saw already that this jacket is very susceptible to scratches. At corners of this jacket, you see the stress that the patterns of the jacket put on the leather. Some might dislike this, but I love the irregularities. My favorite part is the stacking on the arm as you move them. The back is not my favorite, but again, I recognize the practical side to it. I want you all to look at this footage. Do you see how there are many things going on here? The front and pocket lining is 100% cotton. The back lining is 53% viscose and 40% Cupro blend. The sleeve lining is 100% Cupro. Rick loved using 100% Cupro for the sleeve, but never interior body. Rick always blend the interior lining with viscose or silk or something. It's a bit more dry. The full Cupro is more smooth, which helps you move your arm in as you put it on. I wish Rick would have used the viscose and Cupro blend on the pockets as well. I got this in a size 54. As you can see by the measurement, this is more comparable to a regular large. Let's look at it side by side, which is Bodhi size large. Shoulder, plenty of room. I prefer 21 to 23. This falls right there. Plenty of space. Yes, the shoulder exaggerated out. Again, no pattern, so there's pockets of air where your shoulder can spread out. High arch shoulder or level instead of slope, so it feels great. Of course, it's much stiffer. The whole body is connected to when one part moves, so everything else moves. Plenty of room in the chest for me. Not once did I feel any discomfort. That is if I'm standing still. If I need to move my arms up and down, forward, backward, there's some discomfort because of how heavy the leather is. The sleeve, 29 inches, covered 99% or 100% sometimes in my hand, which I love. If we discount the rib knit cuffs, roughly 26 to 27 inches. Crop body, perfect in my opinion. A bit too high to be honest sometimes. If it were a bit closer to the waist, might have been better. However, not complaining. I love how unique this jacket look. There's also a curve on the back, so it's even more cropped. When you have it zipped up and you're sitting down, you feel like a statue because of how thick and rigid the leather is. However, the crop body helps a lot because if this would not be cropped and with this choice of leather, it would be very hard to sit down. I love that the croppedness of this jacket really makes this jacket look a bit more artistic. This is an art piece. This is on the level of comb. And when I say comb, I mean this comb, not the screen printed comb that the menswear scene is obsessed with. I remember when one of the usual fashion YouTubers, I forgot who it was, but like they were talking badly about hypebeast and their love for logo, and then proceed to show off a screen printed comb hoodie from the 90s. If you're buying from a store, look for measurement. It doesn't run true to size. If you're buying it off Grail, ask for measurement. Again, here's me in a size large jacket and me in this size extra large. Another aspect, it's not a blazer. You don't need to wear this you don't need to wear the correct size. The bigger the size, the more leather you get, and this is thick leather, so you want as much as you can. If you still have any questions regarding sizing, slide in my DM or my Pornhub account. This jacket retailed for $5,055 because Rick refused to pay for the shipping. That is what the $55 is for. I got this jacket on sale, so it wasn't as bad. At the time of this purchase, I had just moved to Munich. I was in month 2 or month 3, and it's been 3 to 4 months now since I had a job. We also just bought a house. Taxes for the house, fees for the real estate agent, notary and whatnot were coming in. I was feeling a bit out of control. This purchase was to feel more in control. This purchase was to make me feel like I'm rebelling against my usual ordeal of being a responsible adult, you know? I'm not saying I don't care about the house, but I don't care about the attachment that comes with it, all the taxes and fee for notary and real estate agent. This jacket, it was not a good financial purchase. Hopefully by the time you watch this, I would have sold it already or sold my Tatlin because I shouldn't have 2 of the same shape product. I'm writing the script in months 3 or 4, maybe 5 of my unemployment. Hopefully by the time this video comes out, I would have gotten a nice job, has started living in my new home with my wife. Hopefully we're not as stressed out as we are now. Marriage is not that easy, but I love this woman and I will continue to persevere to make this relationship work because it's worth it. I often hate it when a couple says through ups and downs and then the internet judge them for saying, why are you saying ups and downs? Oh my god, they fight. I find that those people have never been in a long relationship. You put 2 people who have different ideas joining together in a union, you will fight and whatnot. Whenever you see an old couple still staying together, just know that they've gone through countless fights, but they persevere and continue to work on their problem because the relationship is worth it. No relationship is perfect. Please don't look at those couple on Instagram that seem to never show off any problem and think that's what a relationship should be. The point is, relationships have problems, and it sounds like I'm overcompensating a bit, but I've always wanted to present myself as a human being, as genuine as I can. Anyway, $5,055, it's worth it. Go out and buy it at retail if they're still available. I honestly want to talk more and can talk more about this jacket, but it's long enough, this video. I'm learning to try to say less. It's a learning progress. You know, leave a bit of mystery, because the magic is in the mystery. Once the mystery is gone, so is the magic. You might think that quote might be from Gandhi, Jesus, or Einstein, but it's from one of my favorite Disney TV movies, Hatching Pete.
Because the magic's in the mystery. Once you know, mystery's over. And so is the magic.
Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I know it's long, but if you're still here, thank you. Thank you for watching. Again, always remember, it's a bad day, not a bad life. Do try to live more positively and be more optimistic. My name is Makasy. I will see you in the next video. It's probably going to be another work video.